will a medical doctor work for 9 months, 16 months, 19 months without getting paid?
But you see how much kidnappers are picking for victims.
My thing is, government will all the stakeholders get that, and I think we get that. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
So the support that is needed, and once you get the support, your airline people will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Why will a medical doctor work for 9 months, 16 months, 19 months without getting paid?
But you see how much kidnappers are picking for. Good morning and welcome to the last edition of Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. Today is Friday, June 1st. Happy New Month. Well, viewers is wishing you a happy July month, and I hope you get the best of the month. I'm not alone in the studio. You are seeing a public affairs analyst, commentator too. His name is Samaila Musa. Samaila, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Yeah, thank
Although
you
it's
for
been a
having me.
while now.
Yeah, good morning, viewers.
Welcome. Yes, and my name is Winifred Ogbebo, your host for today's newspaper review. We have 4 papers on our menu, talking about Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership, a sister publication, National Economy, THISDAY, and Blueprint newspaper. And as we usually do on the program, we are starting off with Leadership. Let's see today's headline story on Leadership. Vested interest in APC. Leadership newspaper. Vested interest in APC delaying emergence of Tinubu's running mates. Leadership Friday. The Nigeria's first Friday newspaper says, vested interest in APC delaying emergence of Tinubu's running mates. Regions in final push for VP slot. Northwest governors. Wow, like we are experiencing technical hitch there. Production crew.
Northwest Government.
Okay, I'll take that again. Leadership Friday. Vested interest in APC delaying emergence of Tinubu's running mates. Regions in final push for VP slot. Northwest governors, ministers, leaders meet in Kaduna to engage presidential candidates. Tinubu support group insists on Lalong. Youth group settle for Yakubu Ham. That's the leading story on Leadership Friday, and the story is on page 4 of the paper. And we also see Leadership is also carrying some infographics on the sub-leading story on the cover. Religious beliefs meets others hindering family planning, acceptance of family planning. Well, that's Leadership leading story says,
Okay.
vested interest in APC delaying emergence of Tinubu's running mate. What do you have to say about
Yeah, over time we've seen how people have actually been trying to strategize on who emerges as the running mates to the APC presidential candidate. We've seen different names have cropped up over time. The stories are neither here or there. This week you hear this name, another week you hear another name is the one being considered. Of course, we have heard where there was a time Kashim Shetima's name was the one all over the place. Later on, he went back to Zulu. There's a woman from I think Adamawa who is actually a reverend. There was a time who her name also was all over to say, okay, he's considering the first female vice president, presidential candidate. And then I know people like Yakubu Dogara are also doing underground work.
Oh, yes.
Lalong is also doing some underground work. El Rufai is also doing some underground work. Masari also is doing some underground work. But lately, we also see from the meeting they held in Kaduna about 2 days ago, the Northwest governors and ministers, met to actually also strategize to make sure that it's coming now to the Northwest, and it's no longer the Northeast, as believed, because the permutations that actually make the Northeast became very strong was the fact that the PDP presidential candidate is coming from that region. So it's better you bring another of their son from that region, such that between Atiku, maybe the sentiment of ours, between Atiku and also the running mate of the APC, they begin to split the vote. Yeah. So, but the Northwest is actually very strong from about a week ago to now on how that will go back to the Northwest. And one of the cases being made for that is that the Northwest has the highest number of voters, registered voters. So they feel that is going to work. It's going to help them a great deal. But I know Malami also is also scheming right now. From the outcome of the meeting, it's very visible that he's also scheming to say he can tidy quite a lot of things for the ruling party, as a VP, being Attorney General, having served as Attorney General for 8 years, that he's capable of actually
getting the votes.
Apart from getting the votes, maybe there's some other things, so many other things that are actually behind the scene, that has to do with the law, some technicalities and some cover-ups that it will be needed, because he feels he will be able to do that more effectively if he's still in the system rather than when he's out of the system. So, well, it all depends on the man himself, because in the long run, it still falls on his desk to say, no, this name I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable to run with this man. We saw how Obasanjo came out lately to say one of the greatest mistakes he made was choosing an Atiku as a running mate. So, which means he has the volition, it's his own volition to actually decide to say, well, just give me 3 names. Let me choose one of them, but not to force just one particular name down my throat, So this will go on for quite some time. And I think they have up to maybe 3 months to before the deadline of submission of whoever is the final running mate. So a lot of political.
They have up to how many months?
I think 3 months.
Okay. I thought I heard over radio that it's just about July 16th this month.
Well, I can't remember exactly, but I know from the time the election held, that's the primary election, they have a particular number of days, but I can't remember, that I will have to cross-check that again. But I mean, the time is actually ample enough for any serious party to come up with a name. And that's why they're given that liberty to say, well, in case anything happens, in case you feel something came up after you have submitted the names, then maybe they dug out some things about the running mate and you want to change. You are at liberty to do that.
But I thought INEC also said that once you drop a name, placeholder, I think it was in placeholder, that you cannot change it any
No, it's
longer.
not true. Otherwise, they won't be running up and down holding meetings on who will emerge as a running mate. And as a matter of fact, if that happens, then the running mate of the APC as it stands today cannot even deliver his own word. You understand? He's never a politician. He's been a civil servant all his life. So you will see clearly that it's just a placeholder, and perhaps maybe the Kaduna State governor nominated that name because it's from his village. You understand? Not really that they are related in any sense, So Masari is just the name of their town. So, but it wouldn't happen that way, honestly, because they know better, and you see, the ruling party will always have an edge over whatever thing you said. Well, we saw clearly how that played out during the timetable dished out by INEC to say you must come up with the date of your primary convention. You understand? Between now and so time. We saw how APC violated that and it asked for extension, and that date was shifted to sometimes in June again. Do you understand? So they will always have an edge. The president nominated whoever is in charge of, or he appointed the man in INEC. They can always talk to him. The rules can be bent because it's not actually enshrined in the constitution of the country. So it can actually be tempered with.
Okay. Thank you so much. From Leadership Friday, we move over to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is This Day. Let's see what this day's headline story is today. Let's have this day newspaper. This day headline story: Tinubu Wike meet in France as Article 6 rapprochement. Tinubu Wike meet in France as Article 6 rapprochement. PDP candidate says party already addressing grievances. Okowa boasts PDP will win July 16 governorship poll in Osun. Opposes Zamfara governor's position for citizens to carry arms. This is the headline story on this day. Tinubu Wike meet in France as Article 6 rapprochement. From leadership, we talked about APC's running mate delaying, and Tinubu is talking about PDP. Since Atiku chose Wike, Okowa, sorry, as his running mate, I think things have not been the same. There has been missides
yeah.
here and there. We also heard the Benue State governor saying that has to hear from God first before he votes. And Fayose, on the other hand, says he's in support of a Southern president.
Yeah, you
So,
see,
how do you reconcile all this?
yeah. Okay, first and foremost, I think this is a clear message to quite a number of youths in Nigeria, to know that you don't die for any of those guys. Don't
Yes.
kill yourself for any of them. They are never, they are not enemies. You understand?
Yes.
So we saw how very recently the debates became very heated between PDP and APC.
Yes.
And another one that happened that will have shocked or that will have sent the greatest message, we saw the man who almost truncated the emergence of APC. We're talking about Orubebe,
Yes.
that went there and confronted Jega on the
Yes.
day of the voting. Also now decamping to the APC. That's to
Same
tell
party.
you very clearly that you will be the most stupid human being to begin to die for any of those guys. It's their interest that comes first. Their interest comes first. Support whoever you want to support. Don't let your sentiment drive you into doing crazy things for them, because the same person you're fighting on his behalf against another person, tomorrow they will have one or two things to do with each other, and they will come back together in one party again. So, and this is also playing out, whether you like it or not, whether you like Wike or not. Wike is actually a factor to be considered in Nigerian politics today. In whatever party he goes to, he has actually succeeded, either by way of brigandage or whatever. Well, you might not like his utterances, but today he's an issue in Nigerian political scene, and everybody is talking about Wike. And I think his stories have dominated from about 2 weeks now. The headlines is either he's meeting this person from this party or that or this
Actually,
party.
he has been playing host to some political leaders.
Well, of course, he has played host to Peter Obi, to Kwankwaso as well.
Yes.
To
Bauchi State Governor.
no, that is actually their personal friends, which they always liaise. But you see, this crisis is actually getting out of hand in the sense that the PDP leadership actually said the the governors rather should produce a running mate to the presidential candidate. One of the reasons why they're giving that is because largely they're going to be the ones to fund the presidential election. So they're given that privilege to say, well, since you are also powerful people in your own domain, meet with some members of the NWC, and they became, I think, about 17 of them in total, and they voted. About 7 governors voted for Wike, 4 voted for Okowa, including Okowa himself. Taraba governor voted for Okowa. Edo governor voted for Okowa. Bayelsa voted for Okowa. Then Okowa voted for himself, so making 4 governors. Then he got some other, a few NWC members. But Wike got 7 governors, but his own total votes amounted to, I think, about 11 or thereabout, while Okowa pulled about maybe 7. So clearly he won from that meeting, and it wasn't a secret. And so he felt, if you are not still announcing my name yet, then that means there's a problem. Atiku called them for a meeting, the 3 of them, Udoma, Okowa himself, and Atiku. Wike actually declined because he felt, if actually I'm the anointed one, you should have called me one-on-one to tell me, not to call me to sit me down with some people. Of course, he is also getting hints as to where the pendulum is swinging to. So he refused vehemently. And then he went further Initially, he wanted going to court because he felt the procedure that produced Atiku in the first place during the primaries was actually being violated. The procedure says clearly that you have the right, as a candidate, you're going to be given the privilege of some few minutes to come and address the delegates, do your campaign at that moment. But if you want to withdraw, you also have that chance to withdraw from the race. But Tambuwal had actually finished his own campaign, did all that is necessary, went back to his seat. Later on, he was called back, which Wike actually picks hold in that to say no. He has expired his own time of doing that. The privilege of withdrawing has passed. So I can challenge that in court. And I can bet you, if he had done that, if they had not been prevailed upon, if he had done that, the ruling party can also hijack that case from him and say we can sponsor it, because they know that is going to help them to further destabilize the PDP. So, but so many things went down that he didn't go to court anymore, hoping that it's going to be offered something much, much better, which is actually, his eye is actually on the VP slot. And, some powerful people in the party are actually saying, no, we'd rather lose this election than to allow a Wike to come. He's been so disrespectful to us. He's been this, he's been that. But whether you like it or not, for people who knows his work, they will start inviting him over and start courting him. And then he's already weighing his options. PDP is also saying they are also on top of it to make sure that it's being resolved. But sometimes when you allow too much time in trying to resolve a dispute, it's never going to be the same again. It should have been immediately this crisis started, you try to nip it at the bud before you even start meeting with other people, because you've wasted so much time. You feel, okay, now I'm open, I'm in the market. You understand? If you want to deal, I'm ready. So those ones started, because if he didn't open his gates to those ones, they won't come over. I'm sure Advanced Party or some calls must have gone to say, I'm coming to Port Harcourt, give me an appointment, and they know what the discussion is all about. PDP shouldn't have allowed this whole thing to get to that stage, because it's going to be offered much more better things. And I suspect one of the things Wike is likely to want to trade, if it's not been resolved between PDP and himself, is to tell the APC, I'll remain in the PDP for now. Give me my rivers. Presidential election, I'll campaign for you. You understand? So they know. As a matter of fact, APC might not even have any serious candidate from Rivers contesting for the governorship in the long run, and say, look, this is our deal with this guy. The governorship candidate comes to the national, we're giving you something better. So a lot of this kind of trade-ins is going to happen. But the earlier, the better, I suppose, for PDP, because in the whole of the South right now, as we speak, Wike is the most powerful governor or the most powerful individual in the PDP as it stands today. And if you are a serious party, you don't want to lose that kind of person. You might do whatever you want to do with him after you won the election. But while you are jostling for power, you actually need to drop your ego. If it takes you to go on your knees and beg him, do that until you get what you're looking for.
Okay. You ignore him at your own risk.
Yes, you ignore him at your own
Let's
risk.
see this day newspaper again. Let's take some of the riders. I want you to speak to some of the riders. He said PDP candidate says party already addressing grievances. While Kowa boasts PDP will win July 16 governorship poll in Osun State. How feasible is this? Because we saw what happened, what played out in Ekiti. And there's still a faction between Ademola and the other.
Yeah, the Ekiti issue, for instance, is the man who came second and the man who came third are all from the PDP family before the whole thing went, ballistic. What's the name of the man who came second again? The former governor.
Yes.
Is it Oni?
Segun
Oni. If they have been able to resolve their differences between Fayoshe's camp and himself, it's quite very clear that they will have won that election, because so many people out of that grievance they felt, because Ekiti was actually a PDP party, so many people just felt, oh, since these votes are going to be splitted, none of these guys can win. So let me just go to APC and collect what they are offering me, rather than waste my time here, because it's obvious they can't win this election. So that really affected the party a great deal. Now, Okowa is boasting PDP will win July 16 governorship poll in Oshu. Well, the number one thing is that until PDP is able to put its acts together, don't forget that the only PDP governor you have in the Southwest today, who is actually, has been the rallying point for quite a lot of them in other states, is Sheyi Makinde from Oyo State. Is also a very strong ally of Wike. As a matter of fact, he mobilized Southwest for Wike during the convention. So where he stands today is not clear yet. And wherever Wike is heading, the chances are 90% that he's also going to go with Wike in the long run. And we saw how quite a lot of governors in the PDP ignored the Oshun, PDP rally. They refused to show up there. And only the ones who are loyal to Okowa. So you can see that clearly the faction is becoming clearer. You understand? So really, it all depends on how they're able to manage that. But they have a strong candidate in Oshun, in the person of Ademola Adeleke, the dancer. He is a very strong candidate because the family's antecedents in politics have actually been working in his favor for some times. Their father also being a prominent politician in the Southwest before his elder brother, and so on and so forth. So that is actually, his name has been around for quite a while. So if they're able to manage that well, because the APC have done the right thing, what will have made them to actually lose quite a lot of votes is the rift between Aregbesola, the Minister of Internal Affairs, and the governor. And I saw lately, about a week ago or thereabouts, that they have actually reconciled. And I know the PDP secretary, national secretary, what's his name again, from Ife, actually played a very prominent role in that reconciliation, that was being backed by Tinubu himself. So if the APC have actually put their house together, and you're actually saying it's a ruling party in that state that is trying to bring in a successor, with you that is trying to wrestle the power from them, and your house is not intact, then you're going to have a problem with that.
I think the incumbent is going for a second term in Osun State.
Okay, yeah, sorry. The incumbent is going for a second time. So where you have an incumbent that is trying for a second time.
You remember vividly what happened the other time when the election was. I think he even won with a slight margin. They had to do a rerun.
Yeah, they had to do a rerun. And Asiwaju was able to pull a stunt by offering the PDP, the APC National Secretary presently, by offering him a very juicy offer to make him to deliver his own constituency, which was where actually the problem was at that time, because it was that area where they rerun.
From PDP.
Yes, so we were likely to see quite a lot of trade-ins to this time around, but it's going to be a difficult one, except the PDP is actually moving fast, and by moving fast, I mean walk around the clock to make sure you resolve every pending issues.
Okay, the last bullet says opposes, that is Okowa opposes Zamfara governor's position for citizens to carry arms.
No, I think you see the problem is I do not see any reason why Okowa should dabble into what is happening in Zamfara. Honestly speaking, he's a Nigerian, is a governor, but you see, look, let us be fair enough. We've had this issue, especially Zamfara has been very, very prominent. Zamfara is not issue of Boko Haram. Have been very prominent in this regard. You have not been able to stop the killing for a straight 1 week. People have been dying in their hundreds. Government is helpless. The man who is actually right in the middle of the storm is telling you that I've tried all that I can. We've said to these people, don't carry arms. We've seen how common local guns have been used to come and kill them. In some cases, just slaughter them. And I've not been able to help them. The federal government has not been able to provide any lasting solution. And it's saying, look, at this stage, please defend yourself. Kowa should just take care of his state and leave Zamfara alone. Let the people of Zamfara, you see, that is one of these issues that we were having before now that actually brought out the issue of vigilantes, the local vigilantes. And we saw how this was actually taken to a larger scale in the Northeast, because you have civilian JTF, because the government will have to sit down and tell itself the truth. The CDS can say whatever he wants to say, because the military are the highest beneficiaries of all the crisis going on in Nigeria right now. All military officers are having a good time right now as we speak. The man is saying, I'm tired, and I'm also actually going out of office as we speak, because I'll be rounding up my 8 years in another few years or thereabout. At this stage, honestly, I can't do anything to help you. We saw how the when this thing was very tough in Katsina area too, how Masari also made the same kind of statement.
Yes, self-defense.
Sit down. There are governors like you. Sit down and try to offer solutions that you have, because you've been seeing, you from your own state, you're seeing the killings going on in those places, and you have the Zamfara State governor's number. If you have the solution, why didn't you call him and offer those kind of solutions? You don't need to come here now. If you don't have crisis in your state, glory to God, and continue doing what you're doing. But you have any advice to offer a man whose people are being killed on daily basis, and tell them, no, don't tell them to carry arms? I think there should be just normal processes where people, now we have the what's it called? The NIMSI's registration. If you want to carry arms, bring your national ID card, go through the normal process. You can expedite that process right there in the state there. You want to carry arms, go through the normal process. We know what bullets and what bullets is going, it goes to you. You understand? Such that you try to avoid criminals from actually freely carrying arms. You understand? So it can be justifiable that this man is helpless at this time. And we have called for this a long time, that if government is not able to stop this killing, don't tell people, fold your arms. Once they come, just stretch your neck and let them slaughter it and let them walk away. That's not fair, honestly speaking.
You know, in addition to what you're saying, Governor Okowa belongs to Southern Governors Forum, where which is headed by Rotimi Akeredolu, the Ondo State Governor, and they also have been advocating for state police.
You know,
and so coming from him now to denounce governors,
not even go be, they even went beyond the state police. In the southwest, they actually brought Amotekun, which became a national debate at the time. And then we saw how the Igbo governors also started their own meetings, trying to set up that kind of Ebubeagu or something, that kind of you know. So unless you want to play politics with this kind of issues, but you need to tell yourself the truth. If you, Okowa, is in that man's shoes for about 7 years that this killing has been going on, because he even met it on ground, it didn't start from him. What solution do you have to offer? Is your colleague as a governor, why are not you advising him on this kind of solutions earlier before now? So those are the issues.
Those are the issues. With that, we go on a break. When we come back, we'll be reviewing other papers we have on our menu. Please don't go away. Stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Wow, you're welcome back. The program still is Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television, where we review headline stories and discuss current affairs. And with me in the studio has been Samuela Musa. Samuela Musa is a public affairs analyst. Samuela, welcome once again.
Thank you
so much. And I remember you for the program. Let's look at the next paper we have on our menu, and that is Blueprint newspaper. Blueprint this Friday is talking security issues. It says military kills 82 terrorists in Zamfara airstrikes, 2 nabbed in Kwara. Military kills 82 terrorists in Zamfara airstrikes, 2 nabbed in Kwara. Major Captain feared dead. Colonel fatally injured at Niger mining site. 40 slain in the attack. 4 Chinese others abducted locals. We'll go after criminals. Sani Bello vows. Matawale's call for self-defense vindicated us. Northern Group. The story is on page 6 of Blueprint newspaper. Before we rounded up, went on break, we were just talking about security issues we are having. We are being confronted with on a daily basis in the country.
Yeah.
And it's sharing news that military kills 82 terrorists in Zamfara airstrikes.
You see, one of my major concern actually is how do we have a serious government in place that will make sure that the military is number one place area to put a searchlight on, to check all their activities, how everything, and in fact, decide to get moles amongst the military. We saw recently how a military major or was that committed suicide, or captain or something like that committed suicide. From reliable sources are saying that, look, this guy was in the northeast, and there's so many things that went down that the people he arrested is now meeting them again, that he handed over to his superiors, terrorist leaders, is now meeting them again in the forest. You understand? And he's getting frustrated. And when he's tried to take action on that, he was called back here, to Abuja to come and answer some questions. And out of frustration, he felt the best way for him is just to leave, to take an easy way out. Look, there are so many issues, and I'll tell you, you see this kind of military bombardment, this is whenever you have propaganda or you have high people begin to talk. Those are the period you see action. And that action will just go for a while, and it will die. You don't hear nothing about it again. Oh, one time it was to Kano jets, to Kano this, to Kano that, we heard it. Oh, you can't do that until when you declare social terrorists. That happened. What did you hear of it?
Nothing.
Then when some noise started again about the Zamfara governor saying they should carry arms, the CDS was quick to say, no, don't tell people to carry arms. Then today you are hearing how they bombarded. After a week or two, you don't hear anything again. Who is deceiving who? We need to tell ourselves the truth in Nigeria.
Samantha, what you are saying is what the Kaduna State governor also said, that they are waiting, instead of them to wait for them to carry out attack before they attack them, that they know where they are. They know where these terrorists have been. Why don't they just take the battle to them and root them out?
We also saw at one time where a former chief of army staff, what's his name again? That one that died in the plane crash in Kaduna. Because they say, oh, this one is a truthful man. He was coming to do the right thing. Well, some rumors say he was assassinated by that. You need to look very well into the activities of the military. Otherwise, we just keep deceiving ourselves. So this kind of thing, okay, look at the one that happened in Niger. 40 slain in the attack, 4 Chinese also. Now, I'm sure because foreigners are involved in this, there will be seriousness in trying to bring them back. You understand? If foreigners had been, like this 4 Chinese had been among the Kaduna train attack, by now they will have been out. We don't value
they are planning a protest because it's 100 days now since
they have done protests. They have done.
They've
done press conference about 2 times already in the past. Nothing has been done. One of them was shot about 3 or 4 days ago. And they also refusing him to get medical attention. So really, Nigeria is just a very funny country where we're just a joke to quite a lot of people outside the shores of this country, that we're just not a serious people. So we will go after criminals. Sani Bello vows. How many times have we heard this kind of vows? How much power do you have as the sitting governor? What can you control? The military that are supposed to do that, are you in control of them? So there are so many bottlenecks that needs to be looked into very well, and that's why some people will always advocate for state police. But even that is going to come with its own challenges in the long run, because the ones that are not state police, how many have you paid their salary in your state? So when you have state police that is now being underfunded, how effective can that be? So really, we need to really be serious people in this country if you really want to. And this Matawalis call for self-defense vindicators or another group, and I'm actually the one who issued that statement.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So really, we should try to be very serious people in this country.
So, in your call, what other things did you advocate for?
Yeah, we just try to do a rundown on several times we've made attempts in trying to intervene in all these issues, the ones that have happened several years ago. And I said, look, there was even a time we called for stakeholders around the north to say, please, let's have a kind of brainstorm on the solution, because the government seems to be helpless. How do we cushion that and maybe try to draw some synergy with government agencies? It was a program that was well attended by retired generals, police DIGs, so many other people, even clergies, across the two religions. But at the end of the day, hoodlums bombarded that hall in Ariwa House and started macheting everybody. Do you understand? That was sponsored by some people who are powerful, who feel, how can people who are not in government be now the one trying to provide solution? They're not comfortable with that. So we try to remind them of how much how much we have actually written them, the authorities that are concerned, send them letters, on what we think should be done, and nothing is being taken seriously. We've had an interface with people from those domains, both Zamfara and Sokoto State. We have so many interfaces with all of these people. That never happened. The solutions we prefer was never adhered to. They just discard it and stuff like that. But of course, we have actually, for the past 5 years, we've been calling for this self-defense. That look, you don't tell people to just sit down and watch. If the people who are coming to abduct them or kill them also know that they are bound to face some
resistance.
These people want to enjoy life. Nobody wants to be threatened that way. If they know that they are likely to be killed, a lot of them will chicken out. That's what's the point. This money I'm collecting, I won't leave to spend it, because some of the security outfits that are being deployed to that area are also being compromised. So the bandits are sharing the loot with them. We saw how it was one commandant, or so, I can't remember his rank in the military, was sent to Zamfara, and he changed the timing of when they were going for the raid.
Okay, are you talking about Wadume's case?
It was Wadume. No, it wasn't Wadume. It wasn't.
Yet to see the report.
It wasn't Wadume's case. This happened in Zamfara.
Okay.
And then he later found out that somebody, because he told them they are going for a raid, immediately they finished their morning, whatever. By 10 a.m., they are out going for the raid. The kidnappers had already gotten the signal. So he changed the timing. You understand? And then immediately he changed the timing. He called them together and asked everybody to submit their phones. And one after the other started checking their phones, and they found out that one of the officers had actually communicated the time to the bandits. You understand? You won't hear those kind of cases. Nobody will blow them because they feel, it's going to be an embarrassment to the military or something. But you see, the truth is, all the security outfits are being compromised. The only way out is the people cannot be compromised. The people of those domains, because where you have your family, your children, your wives, you don't want anything that will jeopardize their lives, even your own. So really, if you tell them to arm yourself, just make sure that you are not doing anything criminal. Defend yourself when they come. If they know that they also will suffer casualties from the people they went to just abduct like chicken, then everybody's going to be cautious. Yeah, they will think twice.
Looking back, few years back, if you recall, there was just last year, an attempt was made at the NDA.
Yeah.
And a major was abducted. Up till now, there was nothing about it.
Nobody will go to that kind of place without having an informant right in there. They already give them.
No perpetrator has been brought to book. Nigeria moves on as if nothing
of course. Now, several of that have happened in the past. It's because this one happened in a military formation, and that's why it's been overblown. So many places that you think that, but I thought there's a military checkpoint there, and they passed through that place. Nobody saw them. And these people move on bikes a lot of time.
Yes.
So, and when you see about 50, 100 people moving on bikes, nobody is going to make phone call to say, please quickly deploy helicopters and flush them out. Because what is the point? You already know these are terrorists. Once you zoom your lens from your helicopter and you see that they are carrying guns, You don't need to make any arrest.
Exactly.
Just wipe them
Wipe
out.
them out.
That's the only solution. We can't be here pampering these people, taking people who have killed more than 100,000 to court to go and do what at the end of the day. It doesn't make any sense because they know they have so much funds, they can also buy their way out of the case. It is not making sense any longer.
It's not making sense any longer, Samaila. It's really, really sad and unfortunate development in our country. From Blueprint newspaper, we move over to the last paper on our main national economy. Let's talk business. National economy. CBN rate hike won't slow inflation. Fitch economists. CBN rate hike won't slow inflation. Fitch economists. Monetary policy rate not effective in curbing inflationary pressure. That's the headline story on national economy this Friday.
Yeah.
July 1st.
Well, even though I'm not an expert in that field, but of course, ordinarily you will know that when a country is suffering like this, where people are trying to, or government is trying to encourage people to grow their businesses, and of course, you know, there's no money in circulation. It's not a time actually to raise inflation. I mean, interest rates. You understand? Because that's going to discourage quite a lot of people who will want to bank on, say, oh, I can take a loan to fund this. But by the time you see how the rate is actually going higher, you feel you can't actually meet up, you know, because virtually everything, I don't know, there's no any production industry right now that does not use diesel. Diesel is now like maybe times 3 or times 4 of what it was in like a month or 2 months ago. How do you want this kind of people? I was talking to a hotelier yesterday, and he was saying, look, all we are even trying to do at this time is to make sure that our losses are not much. But I can tell you, we need to borrow to pay salaries. Because no serious person wants to come to our hotel here if you can't run generator 24/7. And you know that light has been an issue right now.
It is.
He says, so when you compare how much we are buying diesel with the, because you can't even start raising because so many hotels are now springing up. Some of them are bringing their this thing down low so that just to meet up and try to get customers. So the only thing they decided to do is that just make sure that whatever are your losses, they are really something you can manage and see. Maybe when there's an event in Abuja or something, you have so much customers, you can also make up from all those kind of things. But they are actually not after profit at this time. So these are one of the worst time we're experiencing as a people in Nigeria. And I don't think ordinarily that it should be a time for interest rates now for CBN to just feel, oh, the only thing you can do now is to increase the interest rate such that you try to cushion the inflation. But, well, I don't know what is the justification of the CBN governor behind this, but whatever Fitch rating that we're going by, I think they need to look inward and say, look, if we want to encourage a lot of people to do more business, because that will make more money to be in circulation, then it's not actually the best of time to begin to increase the rate.
It's really sad. See. Well, thank you so much, Samela, for your thoughts on today's Friday, the last edition for the week on InsideNIGEria. It's been a pleasure to have you on the program. I look forward to having you same time next week.
Thank you very much.
So we are this will call it today on today's program. And I remember have a beautiful weekend. See you on Monday. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.